So NaToSaphiX, we're here in Copenhagen Airport. Was the travel well?
Yeah, we went by bus actually. Me and Piken, we are from Aalborg, which is like in the far end of Denmark, I guess you can say. So we had a 6 hour, actually more than 6 hour bus ride here, and now we're taking a plane to go to Stockholm, and that's our final destination for now at least. Well, we're going to Inferno Online later today to bootcamp and just get the last small mistakes hopefully out of the system. We have especially one map that we know we need some more practice on. We're not completely confident in our ability on the map, so we're gonna spend some time playing that, and then tomorrow everything is official. We're gonna deliver, and coming so far from Denmark to Sweden, it's not that far, but still it's obviously an international land. We have a lot of pressure, and of course it's gonna be a bit of a struggle, especially if we don't win. It's gonna be it's gonna be very tough very hard race to go home, but I hope that does not happen.
Svenskerne fucking hader os. Sejler Danmark. Du spiser en pizza ofte. Efter at svømme på knappen. Hvor er det efter her?
So in the first round of the event, we ended up facing a team who actually swapped in 4 new players, and I think the players were Slap, Adder, Twist, some pretty big names at least. We ended up meeting them on Cobblestone, which is one of our better maps, and we were very happy with how the video actually panned out. We had some new things that we wanted to try on Cobble, but we hadn't really, since we've been struggling to find good practice games, we haven't been able to really try it out versus good opponents, and we quickly found out that we need to do some fine tuning before we actually can get it to work. But a lot of clutches lost, a lot of bad plays and poor communication led us to actually lose the game 16-5. But while the scoreline was very one-sided, showed a very one-sided affair, I'd say that it could have easily been a 16-10 or so. I think the right victors were found. I think they deserved to win no matter what, but I still think it could have been a much closer game, and the scoreline didn't truly reflect how the game panned out.
Good game. Vores T-side, vi starter faktisk ud med at have flest runder. De får så den ene, der gør, at de lukker spillet, men jeg tror, vi havde haft flest runder på T-side, hvis vi havde spillet hele den halv så ud. Og så går man over til T-side, eller CT-side, og så er der altså mere ro på, så har vi haft en lidt tid at spille i. Jeg tror altså, det havde været bedre.
So in the second round, we ended up facing Celos, who is a player for Epsilon, and a bunch of his mates, I would assume. I assume they're friends. We ended up on the T side actually, and losing the pistol due to a big mistake by Heifer especially. No, I'm just kidding. But no, we ended up losing the pistol round, and ended up taking the next 12 rounds consecutively, and it was pretty amazing actually. We ended up finishing off the T side 12-3. It got a bit close on the CT side. They got up to 12-8, but as soon as they got up to 8, we just decided to close the game, I guess you can say, and we ended up winning 16-8. So it was a fairly easy game, and it was a very comfortable win.
Syg, mand! Ej, hvor er det sygt!
Jackie!
Altså, helt seriøst. Da du døde der, var jeg ikke til at spille kort. Jeg har da vist noget i mit liv. Jeg var bare sådan, der, den har jeg 10 ud af 10. Jeg ved, hvad jeg viser, hvad jeg vil. Det er noget sjovt at blive, og så er jeg lidt igen, ikke også? Så var det bare lidt det. So, we brought in a coach who is a former coach. We brought in a guy who acts as our coach for this event called Eric, who is a former teammate of mine. And he plays in a team with a guy who we were in groups with. We actually expected them to be the weakest team in the group, but they ended up showing great form. And meeting them on Cash was again one of our better maps. We were quite happy with how the veto panned out in that game as well. But everything was just in shambles. We got behind 10-0, I believe, before we called a tactical pause. And ended up only getting 2 T-sided rounds on Cash, where usually our T-sides are really, really strong. At the same time, T-side on Cash is also slightly favoured, so we were expecting to get something like 9 rounds, and we actually only ended up with 2. So a very, very tough result to be facing going into the second half. But we somehow managed to start taking rounds one at a time, and we ended up stringing so many of them together that all of a sudden it was 14-8, and we just kept building on it, and we ended up actually getting to 15-15. As soon as we did, we just knew the game was in our hands. We ended up winning it quite comfortably in the overtime, 19-16. But in the best of one decider match, and the match that could have sent us home with such a crushing scoreline, it's pretty amazing that we managed to get back.
Oh, this sharp game.
So at the end we had the semi-final game, and it was versus arguably the best team in the tournament. They ended up winning the whole tournament. It's what we learned a few hours later. It was a mix of Drake and Freddy B, who are both Epsilon players, Jumpy, Delpan, who are also some pretty prominent players, and then the final player was Emilio, who is one of the most talked about players, I guess you could say, in newer CSGO, since he's known for things that are maybe not so good to be known about. But it was a good game. We ended up starting on Cash again. We felt quite comfortable on the map, even though we actually got so few T rounds against an arguably weaker side. We ended up actually getting 8 T rounds, which wasn't bad, but our CT side wasn't as good as we had hoped it to be. And in the end we ended up losing the first map 16-12, and due to every single game being quite close and us having limited LAN experience, we just were so exhausted after having played for many hours in a row, and we ended up just actually bombing out in the second map, where we only got 4 rounds on Mirage, starting off the CT side. So in the end it was a 2-0 victory for Draken and his teammates. But it felt like we could have at least taken one map, and I think if we had taken the first, we could have potentially taken the last, because that was probably our best map, and we didn't even get to play it at this tournament at all. But yeah, all in all, it was really fun tournament. Our goal was to get out of groups from the get-go, and we knew that it was somewhat of a realistic goal, but as soon as more top players constantly got added to rosters in our groups, we knew it was going to be a hard feat. But we ended up actually making our groups and getting into the semi-final. So didn't get any further. We didn't get any maps in the semi-final, but still we're very happy with the result. And with such limited practice, I think this is just a true showing of what we are capable of doing now and what we will be capable of doing in the future.
Tillsammans och Ove från luften väl. Nu helt plötsligt one-on-one. Man jumpy dör från ryggen, jag vet inte hur det gick till. Ett one-shot ifrån är han bara. Hur kan NaToSaphiX vinna den rundan?
Jävlar, vilken kallt runda.
Röra sig under Forest och inte bli upptäckt. Tills nu, det var GG 16-14, andra kartan, det blir 2-0, det blir tämligen enkelt och vi har och gratulerar.
Boys.